Talk Shoes. Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you are listening to the VMware Communities Roundtable podcast. This is podcast number 609. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today, I don't have a co-host. Matt is out on vacation, and Corey Romero is out sick. Today is Wednesday, June 15th, 2022. Welcome to the show, guys. Today is a beautiful Wednesday here in the Bay Area. It is sunny and perfect weather. I know the rest of the nation, Corey and others in Michigan and Wisconsin have been telling me, and even in Orlando, that it is super hot out there. The eastern seaboard of the United States is having a heat wave. But here in sunny California, in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley is beautiful, nice, balmy, 75 degrees, breezy, perfect weather for us. But for the rest of you guys that are cooking, I'm sorry. Get out there and make some barbecue this weekend and have some fun. Good weather is always good weather in the summertime. On the show today, we're going to be talking to Tiffany Hancher. Hancher, she is Senior Customer Loyalty Manager at VMware. So we got Tiffany here. She's on our live stream. You can go to youtube.com/vbarbecue and check her out and see what she looks like. So if you want to see what we all both look like, we do live stream every week, noon to 12 to 1 every Wednesday. Let's do a little bit of news, and then we'll get to Tiffany to talk about the VMware Rewards Program. So on the agenda today, VMware Rewards, we're releasing that, integrated into the community platform. Tiffany and I work together on the community platform, so it's kind of a hug fest here. So we should have fun talking about community and finally in a formal rewards program that we're rolling out. So we'll get to that. But before we do, in the news, as always, VMware Explorer. They are trying to get us to get more people to register for VMware Explorer. I know they're into the thousands of registrations now, so it's not like people aren't registering, but we are letting everybody know that it is time to get out there. The thing is, for registration for VMware Explorer or VMworld last year, Reg always happens when Content Calendar goes out, right? Because when Content Calendar goes out, everybody goes, oh, here's the sessions, Schedule Builder goes up, and you can register and then come to your favorite sessions. And we know that. So we know that Content Calendar will go live June 28th, which is not for another 2 weeks here or close to 2 weeks. So, but if you're in the mood, go register for VMware Explorer. Lots of stuff are going to be happening. We are doing code sessions. I now can confirm that we are going to be doing code labs that will allow you to set up NUCs and use Raspberry Pi sensors, those little sensors, on Intel NUCs that are running the VMware SCDC payload, so that you can actually make a smart NUC that will have a smart desktop. So that should be fun. At the same time, we're also going to be loading Tanzu on those NUCs. So we'll have a lab for setting up and configuring Tanzu and then working on YAML files. So going to be some fun VMware code labs. So if you're listening to this when Content Calendar comes out. So if you need to talk to your boss about something cool to learning how to use Tanzu on the SCDC stack with workload and YAML files, that should be fun. We are working with Corey to look at how many vExperts are going to be at the show. We'll either do a vExpert party or we might give everybody NUCs. We're not sure yet. Depends how many people come and what our budget is. But we know what our budget is. We just don't know how many of you guys are going to be showing up. So if you're going to be showing up, register in the vExpert app. The vExpert app now tracks events. So go register for you coming to VMworld on the vExpert app. Let us know so that we know whether to buy you a NUC or not, right? Now, the NUC will not have any memory or storage. You'll have to buy your own memory chips and your own SSD, but other than that, it's good. vBrownBag, all of the vBrownBag sessions are booked. So I think we have 35, 40 plus vBrownBag sessions booked for Explorer. So it should be fun. A lot of community sessions. Community booth is going to be up. We're going to have the code sessions. We're going to have code talks. Code is all booked as well. So we got the code coaches going to be at Explorer. So I think it is going to be old home week. I think it's worth getting some masks, figuring out how to twist your boss's budget strings to get you budget to come and come I think it'll be worth it. So I think that's the news. Again, Europe, November 7th through the 10th, US, August 29th through September 1st. I think that's what I got for the news. So we'll get on with the show, which again, I'll say one more time on the show today, we have Tiffany Hancher, and you can tell me how to say your last name. Hancher, I think, Senior Customer Loyalty Manager of VMware. Let's talk about VMware Rewards. Tiffany, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And it is Hancher, like rancher, but with an H. So my husband likes to say that all the time.
Excellent. Excellent. So we always start on the community podcast. Just like, tell us about yourself. How long have you been in the community? How long have you been in the ecosystem? What's your career arc look like? You can tell us how you got here.
Yeah. So I have been with VMware, just celebrated 6 years. And, I came on board looking to be a part of the customer advocacy team. I worked in customer experience, customer advocacy, customer loyalty in various different companies. And VMware was always the one I saw on stage setting the standards that everyone else was looking towards. And excited to also be talking about the rewards program, because yet again, we're leading the pack here. And so it's a really great place to be. And it's been a wonderful 6 years. I started my career actually working in events. And so I set up events similar to VMworld or VMware Explorer now. And so I have a lot of experience and had a lot of fun really creating that experience, and then focusing more on the journey of a customer through a company on this side of the customer experience. So I've always been focused on customers. That's my passion. My degree is from UT in San Antonio, and I was able to really focus on the customer experience and hospitality. So I have a business degree, but with a focus on hospitality law, which is kind of random, but I love traveling and hotels and that experience as well. So it was just interesting to me. I never really thought I would be a GM. So it's not something that I can utilize in that aspect, but utilizing the experience side definitely got me to where I am today.
I tell my kids that. I say, you can get a degree. You can get a degree in whatever you want, because the likelihood of you actually doing what your degree is, if you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to get certified, sure, maybe. But like a lot of people, probably 80% of the people that got their degrees are not necessarily doing their career. And I tell people that in their 20s, or at least my kids, their 20s are the time to figure that out, right? You get out of college, you bounce around, you get jobs, you don't get jobs, you figure it out, you find stuff you like, you hate other stuff, you retrain, you write your resume differently, and then you find something that you really love, that you're passionate about, and then you find it, and then you work on it for the rest of your life a lot of times. So
exactly.
Very typical. Now, most of our audience members, when we do this, like 90% of them have come through. I maybe didn't make it through college, or I went through college but got a degree in something I didn't like, and then they become IT administrators, because you can get a job as an administrator and you didn't have to have a college degree in administering. You have to go take some certification courses. You got to go learn some software. Most of the people have built PCs along their way and know a lot about hardware, and maybe they get their first job in a data center and they get excited. Then they get introduced with VMware. So yours is a different roadmap here, but it is interesting that then you've ended up in customer loyalty, which I think is interesting. And you said the customer journey. So I'd like to ask you kind of a little bit about that. Like, when you see customer journeys, right? Have you seen different journeys? I know VMware has one, but what does it mean when we talk about customer journey? You buy a product, you start to learn the product, that kind of stuff. What do you guys look at?
So it actually starts even before the purchase. You've got to look at how customers are even hearing about VMware. What are they hearing? Who are they hearing it from? Are customers recommending us to other customers? And so a lot of what I used to do on the advocacy team was with the basis of the Net Promoter Score, and looking at how we were being represented in the industry, not only by our our internal sales team and account managers, but also by our own customers and competitors. Because if they're out there promoting us, you're going to purchase something that a friend or a colleague told you was the best of the best, versus, somebody that's out there demoting us. And so really the customer journey starts way before the actual purchase. And so what we looked at was, how people are representing us outside of what we have control over. And then where along that journey can we make sure once we get them on the website, is it easy for them to use? Can they find the answers they're looking for? Is this a solution that works for them? And then once we get them as a customer, how is that journey going? Are they onboarded properly? Does the salesperson, are they easy to reach? Do they know them by name? Do they feel that connection as a human, that they're getting the best experience that they possibly can? And so it's every single step of the way. There is no one exact journey for every customer. Actually, ours is designed in an infinity loop, because there's always a turn or a twist along the way. And we've just got to make sure that in each of those points that we have a great experience for our customers.
Do you guys talk to customers? Do you survey customers? What's the interaction how do you get data back from a customer? And do you believe that data? Because it's kind of like asking you, some kind of, thing that you don't really want to talk about. So I'm just curious, how are you engaging to get kind of those points from customers?
Yeah. So we, on the old customer advocacy team, again, I haven't been on that team for over a year now, but, what it used to be was that we would have an NPS study that went out to all of our current customers. Every single customer received it one way or another. And we would do that twice a year. So half the customers would get it one half of the year, and then we would repulse it the second half of the year. And that was just kind of internally. Then across the journey, we would have pulse surveys. So these were built in, whether it was on the website or is that built in through, on some sort of product roadmap or what have you. But there was a multitude of surveys or checkpoints that built out that whole journey and what that looked like. What actually got me to where we are today is was a journey mapping process that we did as a group, where we brought in a third party so that they were able to get customers, unbiased customers. Just they handpicked them and brought them in. Some people raised their hands and said they wanted to participate. Some were, other people that they just grabbed along the way. And through this process, we went through an entire journey mapping experience. And one of the things as an outcome of that process was that customers wanted a rewards program. They felt like they were doing so much for VMware. They're doing, a lot of our customers are really woven into our company and felt like they wanted to be rewarded for it. And so, when I moved into the loyalty team and started partnering with your team and started working with Stefania, we were really able to weave together this design of a loyalty program, and it all stemmed from what our customers were asking for. So that's the best way to really make sure and put passion behind, what you're working on, because we knew customers wanted it.
So I'll just be a little bit snarky here. So the net promoter score, that's like the holy grail of like, whether customers want you. Like I have to smile because I get those surveys once in a while from other things that I'm using. I'm like, throw them in the trash. I don't care. Who cares? Right. But then there's somebody like you that are like, come on, we need that data. We need to know what you think. Right. Like it is interesting that you guys took it to such a formality, right? Of really looking at what customers really like. On our end, a lot of the people that listen to the podcast even are not necessarily customers, right? These are SEs in the field. These are, partners that are actually doing implementations. So it's less about customers. We have customers for sure, and I have friends that are customers and customers that are RV experts. But there's also a lot of us that are just in the I guess in the system doing implementations, right? And enabling customers implementing large things, but we're not actually the customer. We're like the partner or the SEs doing it. So it is interesting. I suppose that you probably do surveys of partner ecosystem participants as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We actually used to have a whole team dedicated on our old customer advocacy team to that. And now that's under the partner organization. But it's, if not just as important, it's so, so, so important to have our partner feedback because they're hearing from our customers, if not more than we do. And so we've got to make sure that they're brought into representing their voice just as much as they're representing the customer's voice that they hear.
Yeah, it is also interesting because sometimes I think, we've already got 1,000 of the Fortune 1,000 in our customers, right? So if you look at the Fortune 1,000 company list, right, we are in all of them. We used to be in 998 or something, and we finally got the last two, right? So it's like they're already our customers. So I don't know who else you recommend VMware to, right? So then it's, I think, to me, somewhat how relevant is your products? Like, is your technology staying current? And then how hard is it to work with you guys? Yeah, we have to use your products. We know we have to use them. It's kind of like me and Comcast, right? There's only Comcast in my neighborhood. I have to use them. My bits are flying across Comcast lines right now, but I hate them. So I guess there's also that part, right? Which is one, you're trying to identify new customers, but you're also just trying to find that level of hatred or love, depending.
Well, that is exactly it, because that's where loyalty comes in. I guarantee if another provider came into your neighborhood tomorrow, you would jump ship and give the other team a shot because they haven't built loyalty with you through Comcast. And so that's why the user experience, even if we're in every top Fortune company, we have to keep them, and we have to keep them happy, and we have to make sure that user experience is flawless all the time. We can't get comfortable because that's where if someone else tomorrow comes in, they would leave us.
I also kind of see it because on the other hand, I got Comcast, but then I also have Roku, right? And I love Roku. Now my son works at Roku. Everybody that's ever listened to my podcast knows that my son works at Roku. He's a hardware engineer. But like, obviously I'm a proud dad, but I actually like the product, right? I use Roku. And Roku's really nice. I don't watch cable television ever. I don't watch local television. I go to my Roku and I look at all my paid channels I have, and I actually really love the product and love the ecosystem for it, and really would like to participate and help them because I love it so much, right? So that's where it's interesting, because once you get that love, when I think VMware has a lot of people that really love the product, you do want to feel like you want to be a part of it. You want to help it do well. You want to participate. You want to engage. And because you're excited, you actually love the product. And I love VMware products because I've always loved building machines. And this is like a software way to build as many machines as you want, right? Like I can just go and say, click, get me a new machine. And I have a new machine. As long as I have an IP address blocks that I can allocate to one of those guys, I'm good to go. And I got a whole new machine with a whole new OS, and I can do whatever I want with it. So I love VMware, and I could see that, like, just like Roku. And so then what we're trying to do, or you're trying to do in particular, is give them ways to not only express that love, because we have communities now, but then recognition to say, yes, we see you, we know you love us, and we love you, and here's what we can do for you to just make you feel that we know that we love you, right?
Exactly. And I was going to say that exactly. I mean, that's where communities come in. We have so many customers that want to give us their feedback, willing to give us the gold, with every customer's feedback is gold, and give us time, because so many people, just like, I mean, I'm just as bad about, I receive a survey to a company I'm not really interested in. I don't really care if they get better, if they get worse. I'm like, whatever, trash it. But we have a lot of customers that do fill out the surveys because they want us to get better and they want to give us the feedback to know where the red flags are or where the green flags are that they don't want us to change. I mean,
Right.
that's just as important to give us the good stuff, to say, we love this, do not change that. And so that's just as important. And we have a lot of customers that really pour in, lean in, and give us that feedback that is invaluable. And so we make sure that we give back to them. And so that's where the rewards program came in. We wanted to say, hey, you are in every community, you are participating in every event, you are doing all these things across VMware, you're doing trainings and continually trying to better yourself in our products. And we want to thank you for that. And so not only are we giving you transactional and swag like items, but let's give you something even better. Let's come up with a way that we can give you experiences that you can't get anywhere else through VMware.
Okay, so before I get into rewards, because I'm going to ask you about our program, that's we're going to do this. But before we do, I'm still defining, and one thought popped into my head, which is I was camping with my family over this long weekend. I took Friday off and we went down to New Brighton Beach, south of Santa Cruz, and we camped up on the bluff and we went and had a good time. But there was this one road that you had to park your car and then drive out your car into this little street, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, it was a blind corner, right? You could not see who was coming, right? You just had to you just had to go and hope. And my son is like, oh, I should fill out, I should let them know. He gets on his mobile phone, right? And he goes to somewhere and he lets them know they need a mirror. They need to put a mirror at the end of that street. And I noticed the new generation, right? That automatically just pops in their head, right? Like, oh, I'll give them feedback. They should be able to fix that. They, let me tell them, right? They jump on their mobile and they're like, clickety click. And I've seen that amongst my kids where, the next generation just automatically assumes there will be a way to engage. I should be able to give them feedback. I should be able to talk to them, and they should send me a coffee coupon when I'm done because I gave them a great idea, right? Like that's ingrained into their brain now, right? Like, and I think that as the next generation of IT practitioners come in, which will be the generation, we're going to have that because they're going to be disappointed that they told us something and they, that and nobody recognizes it and lets them know that, we got that. We will get the mirror up. It is interesting to watch the next generation where that becomes such a, a gen, whatever the new gen is, like Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, and now the hidden gen, I don't know. Oh, they're calling them the Zoomers.
Oh,
yeah, that's Gen Z. And the joke is that Gen Z are the Zoomers because they've entered the workforce and there has been Zoom. Right. So the Gen Z, they joke and they go, oh, you're such a Zoomer, right? Like all the new kids. So that's what I would say is like, I think as the Gen Z people come into the ecosystem, we're going to have this. Every company's going to have this way to express, give us, ideas. Hey, he needs to fix this. He needs a mirror here, whatever. And it makes the world better. There will be less crashes. The people won't be freaked out because every camper that went through that thing is going to have to be frightened, experience that thing, and take a risk that somebody says it. Then we could fix a bug in vSphere. We can help other people. It is fascinating that the next generation, and maybe even your generation, because you're younger than me, maybe that's where you go too. I don't know.
I actually don't think immediately, especially being out in the wild, that somebody's listening, but you're right. It's the Twitter effect. It's if you make a big enough fuss, someone's got to listen to you and they've got to fix it because that's where it goes back to that Net Promoter Score. That is someone out there saying something that's either promoting you or demoting you. And so they've got to get ahead of it because it's too much for someone not to see it or not to act on it.
And I can see this.
Yeah.
We need to do this because that generation, they love to help you fix things. He loved it. He wasn't looking at it as a negative. See, me and you think, oh, if they're tweeting about it, they're yelling at us, right?
Yeah.
Right. They think, oh, I got a great idea. Let me share it with the company. And then they automatically expect that the company will go, oh yeah, here's your coffee, right? Here's your free Fusion license. Thanks a lot for that. Great idea. It's all a net positive. Nobody's complaining.
Yeah.
Just that's the expectation. That's the way they think. And I think
Mhm.
we as a modern company now have to put something in place. They would
Mhm.
do that. One, give them the avenue to share with us, right? And then two, have that automatic thank you back going, oh, wow, thanks. That was great. Good idea. We'll save 500 other customers from having to experience that, right? Like
Mhm.
that to me, it was a light bulb that went on, right? Like, even now when I talk about it, I go, yeah, I've seen this so many times with my young kids going like, oh, well, let me just tell the grocery store. Or, oh, let me tell anybody that's a big brand. They're like, oh yeah, let me get on my phone. I bet they have it somewhere where I can tell them what think should change.
Mhm.
So now
Mhm.
we get into like what we're doing here. So so I believe it's called VMware Rewards at .vmware.com, right? That is the URL for the site. Is that right? Take us through what
Yeah.
actually it is.
So actually, we are sending everyone to your site, communities.vmware.com, to learn more about rewards. And then once you sign up, it will take you to vmwarerewards.influitive.com. And so, and that's how you sign up. And truly, what this whole thing is about is, as I mentioned, enhancing that user experience. So we had a lot of different communities, and one of the things I experienced the last time I went to VMworld is that customers were very confused about, wait, why sign up for your community? I just signed up for that community. What's the difference? And wait, there's another one over here. What does that mean? And what's the difference? And do I earn things? Like I got a free t-shirt for signing up for that one. What do I get here? And so it was very disjointed, but not in a way that we meant to. Everybody had a purpose. Actually, we all had very different purposes, but we needed to make it easier for the employees and the customers the same to understand how we work together and why all of these different communities had their own purpose, and have this one loyalty program that allowed customers to earn points for activities across the board so that we could unify and make it easier for them to manage and figure out what community works best for them, because there are so many. My community may not be the best fit for you. Maybe you're not someone that likes to fill out surveys and give feedback. So I wouldn't sign up for that community. I would go sign up for one where you get to be more involved on trainings and user experience or roadmaps for product launches. There are so many different opportunities. And so this just helped streamline those customers that were participating in all the different communities and giving them one direction and one point system to allow them to move up the tiers by participating in a multitude of customer communities at VMware.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just think about a VMware Explorer, old VMworld, where you would go through the village, the hang space, whatever the name of the year was that we called the area, and you would have the VMUG community, you would have the Champions community booth, you would have Meet the Experts over in the other corner, you would have the community VMTN and V Brown Bag in our space, and then you'd have the Cloud Village. And they would just look through the hang space and you could count how many different communities we have. And you're right, there was no thread that really pulled them all together, right? And I know maybe 6-7 years ago we looked at a point system, maybe I think it was Bunchball and Badgeville that had a generic point system that we could aggregate points across all these activities. And even to a true kind of frequent flyer program, if you even went and bought gas on your frequent flyer credit card, you might actually get some points back at VMware as well, right? So opening that up to ecosystem partners, right? Because our partners are a big part of how we sell and the motion of customers. That if we built something like that, that we would then be able to collect all these points. And a couple of years ago, we had VMTN and we had guys that had 2 million points, 3 million points, right? And you had ladders that you could, meet, get your titles, and we have that. But mostly that was kind of old school. And one year we printed out all the little ladder badges, and we took made life-size poster boards of the badge, so you could come take your picture next to the badge ladder that you were at, right? So if you were a genius, I think the highest level was genius, you could go, and you needed like X number of points to get to a genius. But there wasn't any of this like coffee coupon give back. It was just points. And then it wasn't tied to any of the other communities. It was just, right. So the concept here then is a single point system across. And then Influitive, why Influitive?
So Influitive is where we were hosting our community called Champions. And so we were comfortable with their point program and how to utilize their tiering, leveling, and awards program. And so because of the success of that, we were able to build on the additional piece of the rewards program. So once you get involved or get signed up for the rewards program, the next level is an invitation to Champions, where you can unlock bigger and better prizes. You can have the opportunity to meet experts and do different things. And again, we're partnering with you guys. So all of the different levels are going to unlock things in other communities. And so the reason for Influitive was because it was the place where we were already built and customers were used to it. And so again, to make things an easier user experience, we wanted to keep it in a place where they were comfortable.
All right, I threw the softball over the plate, but you missed it. So I'm just going to tell you, I think the cool thing about Influitive for me is that they had a store and a delivery of stuff built into the platform, right? Like, so they have the ability then to watch the points, and then they work with Brand Via and the store and swag, and not just swag, but like donation things. And then they can just enable that with your points. So you can then spend your points, I take it.
Yeah, and that was actually something we created within Influitive. That wasn't out of the box. That was a requirement of ours that we wanted to make it a good user experience. And so we looked at every single element of onboarding, the sign-up process, connecting to SSO and Customer Connect, because that's where our customers are already signed up and they don't have to create a new login to remember. And then also on the other side, customers are expecting a Amazon-like experience. Put it in your cart. It knows your address. It ships it to you. Easy breezy. And so it was a very manual process. It used to take 6 weeks or more to redeem your points, pick out your item. We would make sure it was in stock, work with Brand Via, ship it out. And we knew if we were going to grow this program, it could not live like that. And so we created the integration with our Brand Via partners and made it very easy for them to say, I have this many points in my bank. I want to hit use on this product, and it comes to them, no tax, no shipping, everything's covered, and it's easy. And then you can also, as you mentioned, you can also utilize it to plant a tree or donate to a charity. And so it really makes everything easy.
So not only do we give you a cup of coffee, but if you don't like coffee, we give the option to plant a tree, donate to a charity, or get a hat. Like that. There's a variety of these things, and for me, Influitive did that, so that was kind of cool. And you guys brought that to the table, which is just that's awesome, and that works. I think that's a definitely good thing. So anybody can join the rewards program, right? Like everybody comes in. I know we are getting ready to release the point system on the community platform. So when we upgraded to Chorus, all the points went into like badge levels, and you just got badges. You don't see the points anymore. But in the next week or so, we're going to go live with the points, right? So that everybody on community will see the points, right? And then that clicks, and you can go into the rewards program and look at your points and see how your points are doing, and grow your points and water them and pet them and and pretend they're like a virtual currency, like a Bitcoin or something, where it's like all your points until the market crashes, and then you can only get a peanut from your Bitcoin. I'm not complaining about my Bitcoin just because it's halved. And that's fine, but that's kind of cool. So it is like a little currency. You got your coinage, and then you can spend it on stuff. But that's nice. I know on communities we enabled it so that when you like a post, when you post a post, when you reply to a post, you get coinage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some of the darker underbelly things that happen here, which is people and cheating. We've already seen some guys on the platform coming in and creating secondary accounts and liking things, posting a post, liking things. I know I have my own thoughts on this, right? What are your thoughts on this first? Then I'll throw
Yeah.
my.
Unfortunately, there's always those that kind of ruin it for everyone, right? And what's amazing is our community members were the ones going, just take that away. I don't want to earn points by comments when I actually want to read the comments. And if people are posting bogus comments, then it's not valuable for me to go and read those anymore. So we just don't want to earn points there anymore. They asked for it to be
removed.
That piece of it to be taken down, which was surprising to us because you would think the opposite. You would think people would say, hey, you need to monitor that closer, or, let's come up with a solution. We love earning points that way, but they knew that it was something that everyone was going to kind of give
Right.
easy.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see just having points if you ask a question, maybe, but we wouldn't want a bunch of questions showing up then too. But certainly the author can favor a post. And if you favor a post, that's dependent on the author, not the person replying. So possibly we remove the point acquisition. I don't know if we did or not yet. Did we remove points on the post a question? But I think we still have points on the you got the right answer, because that's they're doing that. Now technically somebody could come in, create a secondary account, post a question, right? Then go on to other account and answer the question, and then have his fake account mark it as the right answer, right? So there is still some gamification on that, right? That can go on. My take is, as long as it doesn't get in the way of the platform functioning the way it should. Like, so if you get too many spammers and you get lists of this kind of stuff, then we'll remove it. But on the other hand, we tend to figure out who those users are and block them, right? Or send them a happy notice going, hey, we see you. Stop doing this, right? Like, I know it's fun. I know you figured out a way around the world, but that's not the point of this. So stop it, right? And most 99.99% of the people, when you just say, hey, sometimes I'll just call them, right? Myself, I'll call them on the phone and go, hey, Tom, how's it going? I see you're on the community. I also see that you did this like 3 times, and gave yourself points for that. And they go, oh, wow, man, I'm really sorry. I didn't know anybody called me. I'm like, yeah. Then the people go, oh, okay, sorry. I was just goofing around. I just thought it'd be fun to do. So I think there's some natural amount of testing the system.
Testing the waters, see what they can get away with.
You don't want to throw away the baby by changing the bathwater. There's some acronym like that. I think that it's okay to experience some of this at the beginning, reach out to people saying, hey, turn off 1 or 2 that are obviously breaking the platform. But then I think over time, people will start using it, because most of VMware people are good community members, right?
Exactly. I was going to say 99.9% of them are really excited for them to be getting points for things they were already doing. They were already giving, great solutions to topics, and replying and creating questions on discussion boards and giving kudos to those. So a little bonus of 5 points here and there, it's not going to give them, to me, you would have to do so much of that finagling to build up enough to even get a, pin, that it's not worth your time. They'll figure that out real quick. They'll, like you said, they'll test the water, see how far they can go, and then realize, that didn't really get me very far. Maybe I should go actually, create a social share and get the 100 points by doing something that's worth it. And then really,
I honestly think there were maybe 10 or 15 people that did it to kind of show that they could do it and that we should close that loophole. I don't actually think most IT guys have time.
exactly.
You make too much money to go sit and playing with a platform like this.
With a few points.
Ideally, it's like it doesn't make sense economically. It's not worth your time. And I think that, but there were I think there were a handful of people that wanted to show us that it could be done and kind of see I can do this and mess with this to say, don't do that. Right. So it's interesting to see how that goes. I know as we come up to 12:45, the last 10 minutes, I'll say, so what are you excited about? Do you have some goals for what's next steps you're going to be doing that you can talk about? I don't want to ask you any kind of NDA things, but are there extra things that you're looking at now as you move the program forward? I know we're getting ready to launch, but as it launches, what's the next step of things you guys are thinking about?
So really the biggest thing for us is engaging more on that upskilling and professional development side, giving customers the opportunity to earn points for participating in more training and participating in things that are going to help them as a human. Really, each individual customer is so important as not just a representation of the company they work for, but also the human element of our customer base is so important. And so we really want to individually help them build their career and their success in what they do. And so that's really important to us. The second big thing is we're really excited to get back in person, as I know so many of us are. And what we're planning for VMware Explorer is going to be super fun. We are right now in talks with the events team to be the gamification tool for Explorer. So more info to come on that. But, definitely, as you mentioned at the very beginning, get signed up, get there, and you can earn more points than you can anywhere else by participating at Explorer. And you can really get up that leaderboard fast. And so it will be really fun to see how many people we get there and get to meet in person and really see what they want. I mean, back to the survey piece of it all, we want to build this for our customers, not for VMware. So if they want us to go a different path and a different direction in what we're doing, it was really easy to start in communities because that's where we know we have our engaged customers. And so where else can we grow and expand, and how else can we build this program to make it the best for our customers?
Yeah, I could definitely see some early wins above community, like certifications, right? Like if you get your certifications, do you get some points for getting your certifications? Even vExperts, like, if you got a vExperts, we should give you 100 points or something, right? Like just as a weighted, because you've given back and done so much that you've acquired that, to HOLs, and it's kind of cool if you can use it to help me understand what are the next steps I should be doing. Because a lot of times I get my product, I use my product, all right, I don't know what else to do here, so I'm just going to use my product. But if you actually give them kind of like a path, and what is the path? What is the yellow brick road? Well, the points are the yellow brick road, right? If I look and I go, oh, that over there is 100 points, or oh, that over is 200, and I can go do those things. I know that I'm going down the path that VMware wants me to go down, and it kind of opens up what else what is available to me in my learning journey, right? And my journey with VMware as a fun company to work with.
Exactly. Yep. And we have different levels that do exactly that. How do we help customers guide them on that next journey? So they have awards that they can earn in the program where they unlock next levels, and then it shows them exactly what they need to do to get to that next level. And then that ends up putting them at the top of the leveling and VIP, and then they get different rewards. And so all of it is to get them to where we feel like they are the best for themselves. That's giving them a lot of training, a lot of opportunity to learn about the products that they're utilizing, participating in different communities and really helping on both sides. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, I can see that, and it makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like, if you think about it, it's the generation. Now I got to ask, like, how are we going to do a mobile app for this, right? And when you do the VMworld, not VMworld, VMware,
Explore. I know.
are we going to have are we going to have a mobile app for that one as well, right? Like, everybody's on their mobile.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we actually are just in early talks about this with Influitive to figure out how we make it easy. I think the number one step is to make sure everybody is signed up before you get there, because sometimes logging into Customer Connect on site has been a challenge, just for all the mobile users there. But if you're already logged in and you've got it on your phone, then that makes everything easier, right? Second is we'll be doing some different fun activities through the VMware Explorer app that then will feed back into Influitive. So that should keep us from having to have an additional piece to it. It should be all integrated, so that way it's easy for them.
are you doing a booth this year at Explorer?
Yeah, we are. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but I know you and I have a call tomorrow to talk about how we're going to partner on that, because that should be really fun. So definitely all the customers, partners out there, come visit us. We'll be there.
Yeah, let me open up my calendar here. Decline.
Decline.
There we go. June 16th. There you are, Tiffany. Decline. There you go. Yeah, so we're working on this stuff. It is good, and I think it comes back to, this is just what customers expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be something that, if you want to give us feedback, give us feedback. There's another low-hanging fruit to me is VMUG, and what do we do with VMUG? How, if you're doing a presentation at VMUG, can we share that point system again to our partners? And VMUG is our, is our partner. You should be able to do things there. The only other challenge I have with this whole thing, right, which, we're talking underbelly here, is just budget for, stuff, right? Like, so, somewhere there has, like, if they get out of control, like, these things get expensive, right? Like if you have 5 million customers or 100,000 customers and they're doing that, right? It's kind of like, now the good news is, I'm asking my own question, right? Because it's like, this is my question to myself. I know that because most of you guys are vExperts listening to this, we're rolling out a vExpert commission program. And if you sell number of products that are in the list, right, you can get 18% commission, right? So that's interesting, right? Like, that you can, because the sales process gives the sales team a certain percentage of money for selling our products. So if we can harvest that money, which we are able to do on the vExpert side of the house now, where we're getting that 18%, which, on a $1,000 vSphere license, that's $180, right? That's a lot of hats, right? That's a lot of, so if we can harvest that sales motion, right, into the activity stream, and maybe not all the activities create sales, but even if only 10% of the activities that we're giving points away create sales, and we can harvest that, then we can funnel that into, that buys a lot of hats, right?
Yeah.
You can get 10% of sales of things that we do, which community does a ton of selling, right? Like that, like, I think that we calculate how much selling we contribute on a yearly basis, and it's like $3.5 billion when we ran the numbers of how much do communities touch the revenue stream. And it's like a third of our revenue, community people, the members, the IT practitioners are touching that purchase stream. So even if you get only 1% of that, or they pay 18% for all that sales, right? Like we could, and I think the sales commission is like probably more like 25%, but the vExpert program managed to carve out 18%, right? So, there's even more above that they didn't give us. But I think there's an opportunity there, right, to even make it more rewarding, that if you're participating in these things, there is value there. And then we take some of that value out of the sales process to fund the stuff you get.
Well, and one of our biggest goals, we're the loyalty team. So the loyalty program has to prove out that there's ROI to it and that there is value in giving points and gamifying and making sure the user experience is great and it comes back to us. And so one of the things that's super important is the data behind all of it, to say, hey, we have followed 10,000 customers, say, and if all of these customers are in 2 communities and they're active members in 2 communities and they average this many points and this is what they're doing, we have seen that they spend X number more than those who don't, that only participate in 1 community. So, hey, account manager, make sure they're signed up for 2. And if they, and introduce them to our communities, tell them what works for them and what would be the best for them and their role and their persona, and get them involved, then we can prove out that this is what we need to continue funneling money into. And I don't think we'll have an issue with the marketing team or the right now the events team is partnering with us on different items, and we've got training teams and certification credits and all different things that are going into our rewards program that people are willing to give just because they know that this is the right place to put it. So I hope we have that problem one day. As we're launching, my goal is to get to that 500,000 member where we're struggling to find enough swag to keep them happy.
That is the problem. That is a goal, to have that problem.
Yes, please bring me that problem.
I know we're out of time here, and I'd like to finish up by first asking, are you on Twitter? How do people follow you?
Yeah, I am on Twitter and Instagram. It's just at Tiffany Hancher. And ultimately, really LinkedIn is probably the easiest. Just Tiffany Hancher, nothing creative.
On Twitter, because a lot of us are on Twitter, right? Like we're the Twitter guys here at VMware. At TIFFANYHANCHER.
That's it.
Rancher Hancher. Hancher it is. Tiffany Hancher. Give her a follow. Say hello. Tell her that you saw her on the podcast or listened to her. That'd be cool. And then finally, because we're at the end of the hour, V Barbecue. You can go listen to us at youtube.com/V Barbecue. Look at Tiffany, see what she looks like, so you can say hello to her at VMware Explorer. So Tiffany, you're in Texas, and boy, we have a friendly push and take on Texas barbecue. So what is your either favorite barbecue, favorite place? Do you make barbecue? Give us a barbecue story.
We do love barbecue. Actually, my husband and I just built a pool in our backyard, and the number one thing we had to build in with that pool was a cabana with our smoker, because that's going to be where we'll live the rest of our sunny, summery, hot days of Texas. But our number one thing our favorite thing to cook is pulled pork. And I know that's not the traditional Texas brisket, but my dad was the brisket pro, and there's just no touching that. So we let him keep that honor, and we moved on to the pulled pork.
Pulled pork. There you go. Do you use forks? Do you claws? What's your yeah?
All about the claws.
The claws. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Pulled pork in Texas. Now, do you guys add barbecue sauce or something in the pulled pork, or what's the flavor, or do you just pull it off
It's so juicy, you don't need sauce.
Okay.
And what we'll do is just have the condiments on the side. Actually, we have a few people in the family that they think barbecue sauce is for those who don't know how to barbecue. So it would be an insult to put it in the pulled pork and have it there. So
that's always the thing about California. So down in Santa Maria, mid-state California, if you use barbecue sauce, you're not barbecuing, you're grilling, right? Like you're just grilling and you're putting fake stuff on it to make it taste like barbecue. But if you're doing it right, it's a rub or it's nothing, one of the two, right?
Yep.
There you go.
Exactly.
Very fun. Well, that makes me hungry. It is lunchtime here in the Bay Area. So Tiffany, Rancher Hancher, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for all the hard work you do, tracking customers and building us a point system that we can get some stuff for. Love that. We'll have to have you back on sometime, in a year or so and see how it's going.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
All right. With that, we'll be back again next week. As always, 12 to 1. If you want to come listen to live, you can go to vmw.re/pod, and you can join the chat and say hello, and we'll talk to you online. Till then, everybody have a great rest of your day and get some barbecue.